All right, great. So welcome everybody to this webinar. This webinar is specifically targeted to encouraging students to apply to our professional master's program in Oakland Campus. It's a comprehensive uh, presentation which covers Oakland Campus. It covers all our biotechnology and bioinformatics details, also our signature co-op program and admissions process. So just to give you an outline, we will start with opening remarks by our Dean, Professor Hazel Siv, Dean of College of Science. Also, she is the chair of the Africa Global Initiative and Professor of Biology. She will open with an introduction to our College of Science. Then we will have a presentation on the Oakland campus and what it brings as a new opening for our master's program. I will present the global Northeastern University College of Science, and then we will have a presentation on our professional science masters with biotechnology and bioinformatics, and then the co-op program and admissions process. So Hazel.
Thank you so much, Sanjeev. It's wonderful to be here with everyone. I'm so excited to have you on this webinar. And I'd like to acknowledge our Associate Dean for the Global University, Sanjeev Mukherjee, who just introduced the webinar. Professor Mukherjee is also a distinguished professor of chemistry and chemical biology, and he will be leading the next part of this, but I wanted to say hello to you, tell you who I am, tell you a bit about myself, because I was an international student, and I know some of you will be as well, and then tell you about our extraordinary College of Science here at Northeastern University that you, I hope, will be interested to be part of as we go through this discussion. I'm international, as I said. I'm from South Africa. I got my undergraduate degree there, and then I came to the United States for graduate training, as some of you are thinking about, and some of you are here already, and some of you were born here, so it's all mixed. Everything is fantastic. I have been in the academy in research and teaching for quite some time. I was on the faculty at MIT until 2020, when I came to our wonderful Northeastern University, the innovation capital of academia, with really some of the very top master's training in the world. And it's been my honor to lead the college from that time. Our own research focuses on craniofacial and neural development, and you can check me out further if you would like. And if you want to email me directly, you're welcome to. Let's have the next slide, because I don't think I have control here. Sanjeev, is that you or somebody else?
Yes.
Terrific. In the College of Science, we are devoted to what we call the good power of science. The good power of science is what your training is all about. And I've written something here that I'm going to read with you so you can read with me. What we call the good power of science has unlimited impact. Our hands-in science education builds the next generation of professionals, that's all of you, empowered to contribute to research and every other top career. Science serves society to build a healthy, equitable, and sustainable future, including every medicine, every understanding of the environment, every type of energy source, everything that is innovative and promotes a healthy, sustainable future, all interfaces with science. In our college, we cultivate a culture of respect where everyone belongs and the contribution of each person is valued. The next slide, please. Another aspect of the good power of science, really important for your training, is that we're committed to educating science professionals who are thoughtful and have ethical training and a respectful, responsible mindset. Our research focuses on research that may benefit society now and in the future, and our ethical, responsible principles underlie all our work, across the college for everybody who is part of it and for every student that we bring in for training. This sets every student up for a very solid foundation to contribute in the most responsible, bright way for their future. Next slide, please. In the college, the research we do extends across every scale. It's fantastic. And as a student in the College of Science, you are part of this whole landscape. We study the tiniest entities, the fundamental particles of physics through molecules that are so relevant for your training in biotechnology, cells as well, the training in biotechnology, bioinformatics, organs, including the brain, the ecosystems of the planet, and of course, the great cosmos. Next slide. The research in the College of Science extends also across every scale to be applied to the fundamental, most crucial challenges of our time. Plastics, the plastics problem. There are plastics everywhere. You've heard of microplastics and their health issues. We think about new antibiotics. How can you overcome antibiotic resistance with new medications, fuel cells, and related sustainable ways of making fuel? Professor Mukherjee's research. We think about, go back, Sanjeev, we think about how diseases spread. We think about the health of the mind. All of these different kinds of applied and fundamental research efforts are relevant to the training that you would get with us in our professional master's programs. Now let's have the next one. Thank you.
1 second. Yeah.
Perfect. So I think, is this you? Am I handing over to you at this point?
I could take over, Hazel.
Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Professor Mukherjee, who will tell you about our university, our global university, and the opportunities for your training. I am so excited that you are thinking hard about a graduate degree for your next steps. I will tell you honestly, I have a PhD and I am thrilled almost every week to have those letters after my name. A master's degree will give you those letters after your name, which will open doors. And I am thrilled that you are thinking about your next steps in graduate education. And I hope that you will join us for really some of the top education in the United States. And we'll let Professor Mukherjee take over and explain to you about some of the unique opportunities that we will discuss with you. So thank you so much for joining, and I look forward to many of you joining the College of Science for your next steps in education.
Thank you, Hazel. Deeply appreciate it. And also thank you for introducing me so I don't have to do it here. So Northeastern University is truly a global university, and it has 11 national and international campuses. College of Science is present in, of course, the mother campus, which is Boston. But besides Boston, we are in London, Oakland, Portland, and Toronto. I must also emphasize that our master's programs are in Portland, Toronto, and now going to be launched in Oakland. So there are more than 300,000 alumni worldwide, and we have about 3,000 employer partnerships globally, including with Oakland, which we will talk about later. So the College of Science has 6 departments: biology, chemistry, marine and environmental sciences, mathematics, physics, and psychology. We have 174 research groups, 310 faculty, 4,700 undergraduates, and 1,500 master students. We also have a very vibrant PhD program with 375 PhD scholars. The research grants are currently around 67 million. And as Hazel said, this is a wonderful opportunity to become part of the good power of science. Our education builds on the next generation of professionals empowered to contribute to top careers. And I'll talk a little bit about it. It's not just careers in industry, but actually encompasses a wide range of possible career options. And of course, our science serves society to build a healthy, equitable, and sustainable future. So at this point, I'm going to invite Caitlin Richardson. She's Assistant Director of Admissions and local to Oakland to talk a little bit about our Oakland campus. Caitlin?
Yeah, thank you for the introduction, Sanjeev. Hello, everyone. As Sanjeev mentioned, I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions in Oakland in particular. So I work at our Oakland campus and know all things about kind of the local area, as I've lived also in the Bay Area my whole life, and also know a lot about just obviously our Oakland campus in general. So if you want to go to the next slide.
Yeah, one second. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so this is a picture of kind of the downtown slash Lake Merritt area of Oakland, one of the more like popular areas in our Oakland community. So Oakland is a really large city. There's a bunch of different pockets of Oakland. There's a bunch of different downtown areas, including just the general downtown as well. So lots of ways for you to kind of explore different parts of the city while you're in the area. Then if you can go ahead and move through the different yeah, blurbs on here. Thank
I'll
you.
put all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So as you can see, there's in addition to like lots of just things going on that you can tap into in the Oakland community, there's also a lot of startups in the local area as well as also a huge health sector kind of community and population here in Oakland. So as you can see here on the right, Oakland startups comprise of like around 350 plus, increasing a lot over the last kind of like half decade or so in particular. Hence why we are obviously having some College of Science programs here in Oakland coming up soon, which we're very excited about. In addition to that, like I said, we also have a really booming healthcare sector in Oakland that ranges across a bunch of different areas within healthcare. And I know our partnerships team, I think, will be talking a little bit about that later, so I won't get too much into it. But that is a huge plus to also studying the College of Sciences programs here in Oakland. And last but not least, Oakland is a very, very diverse city in the Bay Area. So no, you're good. It is definitely one of the, if not one of like the most diverse areas in the Bay Area. It is home to a lot of different student communities, both on our campus and also generally. So lots of different ways for you to find community and also build relationships while you're studying at our campus. If you want to go to the next slide. All right, so I don't know if anyone is familiar with the Bay Area, but it is not just like one sector, if that makes sense. It has a bunch of different cities that are all very, very interconnected. So we have, for example, Oakland, obviously. We also have San Francisco. We have Silicon Valley slash San Jose. We have the Peninsula, we have Palo Alto, which is where Stanford is. We have Berkeley, where UC Berkeley is. There's a lot of different institutions that are very, very close by to our Northeastern University campus in Oakland, and also a really wide array of cities in the area for you to tap into different either sectors or industries, depending on what you're interested in. And then not to mention, we also have Sacramento, which is pretty close by. And then we also have the Northern Bay Area, including Napa, if you're familiar with wine country. There's lots of things going on all the time. So it is a really large space. It's not necessarily like similar to Boston in that Boston is a really large city, but as it says here, there's kind of like a mega region of different areas within the Bay Area. So if you want to go to the next slide. So, as I kind of mentioned before, the Oakland area and the Bay Area in general is definitely a hub to a lot of biotech, healthcare, and startups in the area. It's a really, really booming industry here in Oakland and also in San Francisco, Bay Area, all of the above. So, there are lots of ways for you to get tapped in and engaged depending on your different interests within either biotechnology, bioinformatics, and things like that. So, you want to go to the next slide? So kind of taking a more zoomed in look at our Oakland campus, our campus here is really unique in that it is very similar to kind of a liberal arts traditional college campus feel. The campus has been around for around 160 plus-ish years, so a lot of new and older modern architecture on our campus. There is around 135 acres featuring a really gorgeous ring of like eucalyptus trees around the kind of edge of campus. So it feels kind of like you're at a park when you're on campus, honestly, which is pretty nice. It's very green, and there's a walking trail that you can take around campus. It's like a mile plus loop, so you get some exercise during the day if you would like as well. There's lots of ways for you to also get involved on campus, including part-time jobs, for example. You can also get involved with student organizations, student government. You can go to our gym, go to our library, go to the different events that are being held on campus. Lots of ways for you to also find community, not only in the larger Bay Area and in Oakland, but also with your students in your cohort and also other graduate students at our Oakland campus. Our Oakland campus is also a little bit unique in that we have both undergrad and graduate students, where some of our other campuses don't. So you have a pretty diverse mix of students that you're interacting with day to day on our campus, which is a really great environment to be in. So that kind of concludes everything I'll be talking about with Oakland, but feel free to let me know if you have any questions in the comments or in the chat. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Caitlin. Wonderful. And now I'll present an overview of our professional science master's programs. Also taking a cue from what Caitlin said, since we have both undergraduate and graduate programs in Oakland, there'll be lots of on-site job opportunities. We need a lot of teaching assistants and assistants all over to help with our undergraduate mission. So our professional science master's program starts with the fact that we have many different such programs, but basically in the network, which is Toronto, Portland, and now introducing in Oakland, we are mainly teaching bioinformatics and biotechnology. But for those who are interested, we have an entire portfolio of professional science master's program. This is very different from the traditional master's programs, which are more department-based. They are traditional chemistry, physics, psychology, etc. But these are very different in the sense that these master's programs are, first of all, non-thesis degree programs, as opposed to what is taught in our traditional master's programs. They also include 4 to 6 months of co-op, which is very critical. And we'll talk about this co-op program at length in this webinar. Also, it is very important to understand that each of these master's programs have an advisory board from industry. And these advisory boards play a very critical role in advising us as to what is cutting edge, how the curriculum has to mold itself to what the community and society at large, including industry and others, would need our students to be trained in. So it's a very important component of a professional master's program. With that, the other salient aspects of the professional science masters is that GRE is not required. Most master's programs have rolling admissions, which is also unique. So we do take students in the spring semester as well as fall, though fall entry is the largest cohort. And of course, we have this in our network, so it's truly a global experience. And then these courses are specifically designed to empower students and have the lab component, which are specifically targeted to give you the skills necessary to take forward. So essentially, we want our students to develop their network and develop the mentoring exercise with industry partners for the successful next step in their career. So as I said, this is not just training you for a career in industry. Of course, that is very central to our professional science masters, but it also allows you to go into other areas such as management, academic research. For example, you can apply for PhD afterwards. Management consulting, you can go and teach. So education, communication, some of them can take electives to be more in the role of policy, government, and law. So these are infinite possibilities how you can shape your education through electives. So very, very important to note that 2023 statistics show 94% got employed after doing MS biotechnology. With this, I'll hand over to my colleague, Jocelyn Haverstadt. Jocelyn is associate teaching professor, and she's also program director of the biotechnology graduate program. Jocelyn?
Thank you, Sanjeev. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. It's so great to see you all on this call. It's so great you're considering our program, which we're very proud of and very happy to talk to you about today. Next slide, please, Sanjeev. Thank you. As Dr. Mukherjee was just mentioning, my name is Dr. Haversat. I run the biotechnology program. I'm the program director. So I make sure that the curriculum is cutting edge. I staff all of our courses, make sure that the faculty are cutting edge, and that the way that that we are moving through these courses is very similar to how you'd move through coursework, through presentations and through your job in industry, and kind of to facilitate that experience. You'll see when you join our program that 75% of our faculty work in industry, the vast majority of our faculty, which means that and they're active professionals currently in the field. So that means that when you go to your classes, you're already networking, you're already building connections, and you have humans right there that are going to help you figure out, oh, here's my resume. Is this, I'm thinking about this profession. Is this going to be good? How should I work on this? And you can really ask them those questions, and you can get their real world experience while they're actually in that industry, which is something that not a lot of programs in academia can actually boast. And kind of with that being in industry, our faculty really are experts in their fields. The faculty teaching our, molecular approaches in biotechnology course are working in molecular approaches in biotechnology. And so they're able to really kind of navigate the cutting edge of that field with you in the class in real time. All of the examples you'll have in your class are industry-based case studies. The whole curriculum is very active, designed to build professional skills. It's really designed to help you get those jobs in industry based on the skills that our employer partners tell us are essential, and as we see in our employment rates, we know are essential for industry. Along with that, that faculty expertise that we have a dedicated academic advising team that is really well versed in our curriculum. They can help you navigate that program and kind of tailor your curriculum towards the career goals that you have. We also have a dedicated a set of program co-op advisors who are used to working with our biotechnology industry partners, and they'll speak at the end of this meeting, so you can hear more from them. We also have a student employment office for on-campus jobs. So many of our students do take on-campus jobs while they work with us in order, to help them fund that education. And so we do support you throughout that process to help you try to land those positions if that's something you're interested in. And then finally, for any of our international students on the call, we have an absolutely amazing Office of Global Services that's going to help you navigate some of those challenging elements about what it looks like to study in the US and visa regulations and that kind of thing. And so we really are there to support you in every aspect to work towards that ultimate career in the biotechnology field and throughout your educational process. Next slide, please, Sanjeev. Thank you. So a little bit more about the biotechnology program in general. Our program, it has a minimum of 34 credits. And what this equates to really is if you're a full-time student, that's going to be 4 semesters of coursework. So you'll either do fall, spring, or spring, fall. We don't have a required summer semester. And then on top of that, you'll do either somewhere between a 3 to 8 month co-op work experience. And you can place that anytime after you've completed half of the program, and if you're in good academic standing. So some students do that in the summer months in between, their first and second years. Some will do it in, the fall semester. And so it really just depends on, when you start looking, when you land a job, that kind of thing. And that'll extend your program, sufficiently. You can kind of imagine how that could look. Our full-time students take somewhere between 8 and 9 credits or 3 to 4 courses a semester. Our courses are somewhere between 1 and 4 credits, so it's going to vary. And then, as I mentioned, we don't schedule courses for the summer semester, with a few minor exceptions for our, for a specific subset of students. But we don't ask students to rely on taking summer courses. Part-time students, if you're on this call and interested in that, are going to take, of course, less than that full course load. That's going to be somewhere between 1 or 2 courses a semester, or if they're low credit courses, even 3. And you have up to 7 years to complete that degree, although most of our students complete well before 7 years. Our program is really, really flexible. So kind of acknowledging that we have a very diverse, as Dean Siv said, student population that comes to take our program. We have students that are just getting out of industry and wanting to continue to propel into their education. We have students that are instead of coming out of their academic undergrad experience, they come from industry, or we have students that have taken breaks or are transitioning fields. We have students that have families, we have international students, domestic students. So we have students that have other full-time jobs. So what that means for our coursework is that all of our on-ground courses are offered in the evenings. Most begin at 6 p.m., which means that if you're working a job that is a first or second shift job, you can still usually make it to our classes and you can take those on-ground courses. We also have online courses. So if you need a little bit of flexibility and there's limitations here, your academic advising team can work with you to figure out what your right course schedule is. But if you have a family or if you're not available in the evenings, you can take, for some of our students, all of your courses. For other subsets of students, at least one course a semester online. And so we really do offer that flexibility for you to tailor your degree the way that you want them. And then, of course, we have our lab classes as well. So we have a couple required lab courses in our curriculum that are designed to get you really, they're incredibly cutting edge graduate hands-on coursework that give you the experiences that you need in your, if you're working in or around the R&D space. And so those courses are on ground, of course. And then we have kind of hybrid opportunities as well for those if you need more flexibility. So your graduate advising team is there to work with you on those lab course, on all of building your whole program plan to make sure that it is flexible and meets the needs of you as we work with you in the industry and moving towards industry. Next slide, please, Sanjeev.
All right, so we are going to move to bioinformatics graduate programs. And let me introduce our assistant teaching professor, Professor Ayansola Oyernake. She is in Toronto, and she's going to talk about bioinformatics.
Thank you very much, Sanjay, for that introduction. So I'm going to give you like an overview of our program details in bioinformatics. It's very similar to what Jocelyn just mentioned in biotechnology, but I'm just going to give you like an overview of the programs and the curriculum that we are offering in bioinformatics. Next slide, please. Like I just mentioned, I said it's very similar to the biotechnology, because here you have a typical coursework of 32 total semester hours required. So what that means is that for you to be able to graduate, you have to take at least 32 credits, and also you have to maintain a minimum of 3.0 CGPA. And I want to mention that you are not alone right there. You have a lot of support in order to be able to achieve the set minimum of the GPA that's needed for you to be graduating out of bioinformatics program. And for full-time course, for students that will be taking a full-time program, you are supposed to be offering, we'll be offering 2 courses, which is like 8 credits. 8 credits per term, and this will include some of the core courses that we'll be offering for bioinformatics methods, for bioinformatics programming. In masters includes the bioinformatics methods, so that is very similar to introduction to bioinformatics, and you will be granted in different bioinformatics, like even for the beginners, you'll be granted in different programming languages as well, and also we'll be offering programming in bioinformatics, ethics, statistics for bioinformatics, and core prep. So those are the 5 main core courses that you're supposed to take before you graduate. In addition to that, we have some elective that you'll be taking depending on the concentration that you choose at the end of the day. So this elective, for you to be able to graduate, you have to take 4 to 6 elective, which are interdisciplinary electives all across the discipline, which can be even if you're interested in data analytics, in data science, can go on to do some in introduction to data mining and machine learning programs, and also for information and data visualization, and different sample of elective that we have. And for part-time students, for you to be able to participate, you have to take at least 1 course per term. 1 course per term is required for part-time students. We have various elective in bioinformatics. All depends on the concentration that you really want to focus on. And for the concentrations, you can either go for the bioinformatics enterprise, Bioinformatics Enterprise integrates business and management skills with the science of bioinformatics. I'll go on to do concentration in biotechnology. The biotechnology concentration just help students without biotechnology to obtain a strong foundation in basic biotech concepts and skills. Then we have omics. For omics concentration, you're going to be taught how to analyze large data sets that are related to genomics, proteomics, transcriptomics, and any other new omics fields as they evolve. And there is another concentration option, whereby you do not have to concentrate or pick a required concentration. It's very flexible for you to be able to choose any elective options that you really want. And for this, you need to select 12 credits of elective in place of the concentration specific courses for you to be able to graduate. Next slide, please. So for bioinformatics, we know that bioinformatics involves integrating knowledge from a biological, computational, and mathematical discipline with a backbone of programming languages. So in our program, you're not alone. We have specific core courses that I just mentioned briefly, some of them the other time. We have some that are really specific in teaching you the programming, the different language programming that are very essential to bioinformatics program. For example, one of the core courses that you'll be taking is bioinformatics programming, which is core in Python. Here you'll be taught a lot about Python, right from beginners level to advanced level. Then for introduction to bioinformatics, which is much also known as the introduction to computational methods in bioinformatics, you'll be exposed to Linux command line, bash scripting, and also exposed to how to use the HPC, which is a high-performing computing system that we have here in Northeastern University. And for R, you'll be doing majorly R in statistics for bioinformatics. So in all, you'll be covering all the programming language that is required for you to have that solid background and solid foundation in our bioinformatics program. Our curriculum is very well enriched with real-life data, so you have opportunity of working with real-life data, which is going to give you like a solid background to compete at the end of the program. And also, you'll be taught by faculties who are experts in various bioinformatics or computational fields. Some of them are working in the industry as well. And in addition to that, we do have in-class seminar whereby you're going to have opportunity to meet with faculties, with invited guests, which might be member of the faculty or people from outside that will be talking to you and engaging you on what is happening out there. So you're not going to be all alone throughout the program, and you're going to have a very solid background and a very solid foundation at the end of the day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ronki. Next, we are going to talk about our signature co-op program, and to present that will be Vinicia Harrison. She's in our Boston campus. The first part of this will be given by Vinicia, and the next one will be by Karima Omer. Vinicia is Senior Co-op Coordinator and Director in Boston, as I mentioned. And Karima Omer is actually situated in Oakland, and she is Associate Director of Experiential Learning. So with that, let's have Vinicia present what is co-op.
Thank you, Sanji, for that introduction. So as you mentioned, my name is Vinicia. I'm the Director of Graduate Co-op within the Boston office. And obviously, you've heard co-op throughout the presentation. So obviously, you're wondering, what is co-op? And co-op, I would say, is one of those things that gives you a return on your investment. Besides, obviously, in addition to the education that you're going to receive. And essentially, it's a 4 to 6 month work experience in your field of study and an opportunity for you to put into practice what you have learned in the classroom. Next slide, please. For over 100 years, Northeastern has been a world leader in cooperative education. It's the cornerstone of our experiential learning program. It's embedded in Northeastern's culture. And something else that you probably, actually Ronki had mentioned earlier in her slides, and also Jocelyn mentioned, was the co-op prep course. The co-op prep course is a part of the preparation to going on co-op and beyond. We have a number of co-op faculty that would be directly assigned. There are co-op faculty that are normally assigned to students to support them during their co-op process. And within the co-op prep course, there are modules that are assigned to students where you cover resumes, cover letters, professionalism in the workplace, and and things such as the actual job search. And along with that, we also have a platform that Northeastern utilizes that is specifically for students whenever they are conducting a co-op search. Next slide, please. Now, our co-op program allows each student to gain the confidence needed to move towards your goals while blending your studies and your professional experiences. Because imagine, as a student, you're very engaged in your academics, and obviously you decide to attend a university because of their academics, but then, something that is additional could be a work experience that could help you to hone in on your skills and build on your skills that you are learning. Next slide, please. Now I'll move this over to my colleague, Karima.
Thank you, Vinicia. And thank you, Sanjeev, for the introduction. My name is Karima Omar. I am the Associate Director of Experiential Learning, heavily focused on the partner side of all things related to building university relations. And so as Vinicia shared, the co-op model, the co-op program that's so enriched in the Northeastern culture, and truly why some of the students, many of the students select Northeastern, is to get that hands-on experience and build so much experience by the time they graduate Northeastern. When we looked at the undergrad numbers and then the grad numbers, on average, students were graduating with up to a year and a half of work experience through their co-op program. And so during that time, not only are they networking and getting experience, but leading up to their co-op, they're learning interview skills, they're having mock interviews, they're getting their resume reviewed. And while they're on the co-op, they're growing their network, increasing their understanding of the field that they'll potentially be entering, and ultimately deciding if it's something that they want to do or something that they don't want to do. So that choice of considering the future programming, the future jobs, careers that they could have. I always share this with my co-op or just my larger general partners. At any given point, we have 3,000 students completing a co-op. And with or just with those co-op employers, which really speaks to the volume that Northeastern positions itself to connect with partners and build more experience for our students. And then next slide, please, is where I'll share a little bit about partners in the Bay. My colleague Caitlin shared this earlier, the biotech of the Bay. I went ahead and just wanted to outline some of the biotech companies just right around the corner from the campus, 20, 30 minutes away. From Genentech, which is our largest biotech company in the Bay Area. It's our largest biotech partner for Northeastern in the Bay Area as well. To date, 101 co-ops. And when we looked at the numbers, over 74 alum, and that's just from Northeastern prior to the merger with the campus before. A few others, Solano, we have Standard BioTools, just all within Prolific Machines is less than about an 8-minute drive away from the Oakland campus. It's based in Emeryville. And each one of these companies that we have outlined right here show a lot of Northeastern alum presence within the facilities. So we have the opportunity to engage even further with more, but just at a quick grab, we were able to just grab these ones and to showcase to you all some of the neighboring partners that we have in the biotech space. Next slide, please.
All right. Thank you very much, Karima. It was wonderful. The last section is our graduate admissions process. And to present that will be Courtney Dimitro. She's Associate Director of Graduate Admissions. Courtney.
Thank you, Sanjeev. Hi, everyone. My name is Courtney Demetrio, and like Sanjeev said, I'm the Assistant Director of Graduate Admissions here on the Boston campus, but I support all of our regional campuses as well. You can move to the next slide, please. Thank you. So my office is the Graduate Student Services Office. And so we are a one-stop shop for students. We support you from your original point of inquiry into the program all the way through commencement. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the graduate student experience. So these are ways you can get involved with Northeastern. A lot of these are on the Boston campus, but they support students across all of our regional networks as well. So we have the Graduate Student Council, our Graduate Student Ambassador Program, which we'll be thrilled to launch over in Oakland as well, once we have students on ground there. We have department social events. We have the Alliance for Diversity in Science and Engineering, which there's a specific NU chapter. The Graduate Women in Science and Engineering, or GWIS. We also have the Mass Biotech Council, which I believe is a little bit more specific to the Boston campus. But then the Graduate Biotech and Bioinformatics Association. And so that's a lot of our graduate students in biotechnology and bioinformatics wanted to, get together to really discuss their career aspirations and get involved on campus and support each other through the program. So they plan a lot of great events for students. Next slide, please. So I'm going to speak a little bit about the application process and how you would go about applying to either the biotech or bioinformatics program in Oakland. But we did want to highlight that we are offering for our first incoming cohort of students this fall a 25% scholarship. So if admitted, you would automatically receive the 25% scholarship for Oakland, which is fantastic. Next slide, please. So our upcoming deadlines, so for fall 2025, there's still plenty of time to apply. Our international deadline is July 1st. And unless you're already here in the US on an F1 visa, in which case there's a little bit more time, it's July 15th. And our domestic deadline is actually, August 1st. And so admissions decisions are released on a rolling basis. So the sooner that you apply, especially if you're an international student, the sooner you'll receive your decision and be able to start your visa application. So there's some websites here that provide more information on how to apply, which I'll go over in the next slide as well. But I did want to highlight that if you are planning to apply in the application fee waiver section, you can use the code COS 2025, and that will waive the $100 application fee for you. Next slide, please. So how to submit an application. Everything would be done through our online application portal. So that link is there. Like I said, if you use that COS 2025 fee waiver code, it would waive that $100 application fee. We do require copies of all your unofficial transcripts. So unless when you're admitted at that point, that's when we would require your official transcripts to be submitted by the first day of classes. And then that's from all institutions attended. So if you have more than 12 credits, let's say you did a few years at one institution and then transferred, we would need copies of all of your transcripts from any institution you attended. We also require a statement of purpose. And so typically for a statement of purpose, we're looking for 1 to 2 pages or about 500 words that indicate your passion for the program, discipline, industry, career path, and the university. It gives you a chance to showcase your writing skills, which are essential for grad school. And it's a great opportunity to address your experience and then maybe any other portions of your application that might be lacking. We also request a professional resume to show any work experience that you have in industry and beyond that kind of shape your experience and kind of convey what you've been doing since graduation if you are not a recent college grad. We require 2 letters of recommendation. And so for the letters of recommendation, we do recommend that you contact either a former employer, supervisor, or a former professor to write your letter of recommendation for you. We do recommend contacting them in advance of submitting their name and email address in the system so that they have a heads up that you're going to be requesting and they agree to offer a letter of recommendation for you. So like I said, some good examples: a boss, supervisor, former professor, but you would not want to have like a parent, a friend, a sibling, a classmate, etc. And then English language proficiency. So English language proficiency can be fulfilled in one of 3 ways.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
This has a mind of its own.
So English language proficiency can be fulfilled in one of 3 ways. If you earned a degree at a U.S. institution or an institution where English is the only medium of instruction, Otherwise, we accept the TOEFL exam, IELTS, PTE, or Duolingo English proficiency test. There are optional things that you can submit as well that are not required, but as long as you have all the required portions of the application submitted, your application will be reviewed. You are welcome to submit additional letters of recommendation, a writing sample, or GRE scores, but they're not really considered, as previously mentioned. So we look forward to receiving your application, and we do have a little bit of time left. So if there's time for questions, we're happy to answer them in the chat. I do have 2 of my team members here to help with any admissions questions. And then you have your program directors and co-op team and a lot of support here. So
Thank you very much, Courtney. And actually, this is a good segue to questions. So we will open the floor to anybody who has a question. You can just raise your hand, or you can put it in the chat, whichever way actually is convenient to you. I do see, let's see. There is one question, which is a student from Nigeria. He says he has been offered admissions into the Boston campus to study MS bioinformatics. I want to inquire how I can go about getting accommodation. Well, that can be answered on the side because it's more Boston specific. Students who are applying for Oakland, please go ahead and raise your hand, and I'll have Courtney manage this aspect of our interaction.
thanks, Sanjeev. So I do see there's another question here. As an international student, are there more scholarship aside from the 25% Oakland scholarship? And are there graduate assistantships too? So I'll answer the first part of that question. It's possible that there may be some other scholarships available, but any scholarship that you are eligible for, you would automatically be considered for as part of your application. So there may be some additional scholarship funding available, but it is not guaranteed. Right now, I can tell you for sure that we're offering that 25% Oakland Campus scholarship, but you would not need to submit any separate application for any further scholarship opportunities. And then in terms of graduate assistantships, Sanjeev touched on this a little bit, but I know there's a large population of undergrad students at the Oakland campus, and I know that they have been working on developing some pathways for teaching assistantships for some of those courses. I believe that's something that they would have to apply for. And Jocelyn, you can jump in and correct me there if I'm wrong.
Yeah, any TA positions that we have are by application, and we just look to see who's the most qualified, grades and relevant coursework, that kind of thing. And I can take the next one too. Are there any overlaps in courses for the MS in biotech and MS in bioinformatics? So all of the coursework for, at least the entry-level coursework for both programs, counts as electives for the other programs. So as you kind of tailor your degree, if you want to take a biotech focus with more bioinformatics coursework, you can add those onto your electives. You can also do the same kind of in reverse for bioinformatics. And if there's anybody in the call that is interested, we have a supplemental slide more about the curriculum of biotech. I know Ronki talked a little bit about the bioinformatics curriculum. I can speak the same to biotech if you're more interested. But yeah, there can be significant overlap if you are, wanting. I would like to see if you want to be more of a bioinformatician that knows a little bit about biotech, or the opposite, a biotechnician that has bioinformatics coding experience. I would use that to direct you towards one of those two pathways.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Actually, Marty, if you send me and Jocelyn an email, we can answer your question in a more granular fashion to know exactly what you're looking for. But as Jocelyn mentioned, there is significant amount of overlap, which, and of course, this all entails how you want to design your MS degree program. There is another question here, which is, can we apply for assistantships before July 1 deadline too?
I don't believe so, no. I think you do need to be a matriculated student to have access to the student employment workday where they post all of their positions. So you would need to be a matriculated student in order to apply. My understanding is that teaching assistantships are primarily for second semester students and beyond. So after you've already been enrolled in the program and have your feet wet a little bit.
Yeah, although I would say a caveat on the Oakland campus, we have a significant population of undergraduates. So whereas for bioinformatics and biotech on other campuses, you would be a TA for the master's level coursework. There are probably going to be some openings at Oakland to be TAs for that undergrad coursework as well. So yeah, but again, you wouldn't have access to that until you matriculated to the program.
Yeah, there is a question about, I don't understand it fully, but can a third class holder apply for an MSc in biotechnology? This, I think Courtney can answer.
So I think that's in regards to like their graduation rank potentially. So we typically recommend a 3.0 GPA on a 4-point scale is kind of the minimum of what we're looking for. We do have a holistic application review. So there are students who are admitted with lower than a 3.0 GPA if they have very strong work experience and letters of recommendation, et cetera. I believe that's typically like a first class or second class in terms of like the GPA conversion. And then there was another question that was sent to me as a direct message, which is, where is the bioinformatics program located? So this session is to highlight our Oakland campus, where we will have the bioinformatics program launching this fall. Bioinformatics is also open on our Boston campus, and on our Toronto campus.
Yes, it's Boston, Toronto, Portland, and now in Oakland.
Yeah, the caveat being that I don't believe Portland is available for bioinformatics for international students, though.
Yes, that is true. Actually, if there is any granular questions about biotechnology or bioinformatics, please go ahead. I have supplementary slides which Jocelyn and Ronki would be, very happy to answer. There is a question here about on-campus housing in Oakland. I think Caitlin or Karima can answer that question.
Yeah, I can answer that question. It depends. So housing at the Oakland campus is primarily for our undergraduate students, and if there is space available for graduate students, by the time the classes will be starting, they will potentially offer it to our grad students, but it's most definitely not a guarantee. So I wouldn't rely on that possibility if you're looking for housing for moving to Oakland.
But there is plenty of housing nearby, which is not, and there is some degree of public transportation, though I'm going to rely on Caitlin to answer any specifics, but there is public transportation there. Am I right, Caitlin?
Yes, there's a number of different public transportation avenues that you can use to reach the Oakland campus. A lot of our students live either in Oakland or in San Leandro, which is a city that's just a little bit south of Oakland as well. And there is, like you mentioned, public transit through either the public bus or also through BART, which is kind of like our subway version of that in the Bay Area as well. And we have multiple bus stops that drop off right at the front of campus, as well as a shuttle that can take you around to the different neighborhoods in Oakland that is from Northeastern specifically. So
thank you, Caitlin. Any other questions? Or if I've missed anything?
I received another question as a direct message.
Okay.
So can we have access to scholarship opportunities for international students? So I did touch on this briefly, but any scholarships that you're eligible for through Northeastern, you'd be automatically considered for as part of your application. You don't need to apply separately to those. And specifically for the Oakland campus, you would receive that 25% if admitted.
Yes.
And then there is a question about the tuition fee. So how billing works for graduate courses is that you are billed on a per credit hour basis. So if you're registered for 8 credit hours, it would be 8 times the credit hour amount plus any fees. And I can put the link, actually, thank you, Bridget. Bridget put the link into our tuition and fees from the Student Financial Services website.
Thank you very much, Bridget. That's fantastic. So we are almost approaching the end of this webinar. Any other questions? We'll give it a minute for anybody who's wanting to ask a question. Looks like we have, oh, do you guys assist in the visa? Courtney, you would like to take that?
Yeah, so we can, answer any questions that you have with the support of the Office of Global Services on how to apply for a visa. But in terms of securing a visa appointment and submitting the visa application, that is something that you would do independently, though there is guidance from the Office of Global Services.
Yeah, and it's very important because you have to apply with all the paperwork ready, because if you don't, then usually the visa is denied. And you don't want to go through that, that possibility. So Office of Global Services is extremely valuable service, which will tell you how to put your, visa application together. But the appointment and, of course, the visa interview is up to you. So I think we provide one of the best services in that regard, which is very personalized to answer your questions.
Yeah, and Bridget shared the link for more information on requesting your I-20 through Northeastern if you're admitted.
Yeah, so Bridget can answer your question. That's a pretty straightforward process.
And then I had another direct message. Do I pick the campus I want to be admitted to for my master's in bioinformatics program? So yes, when you submit your application on the program information page, you would specify your first choice of campus would be Oakland. There will be a field for you to select your second and third choice campuses. But at this time, we haven't capped enrollment at any of our campuses. So if you select Oakland as your first choice and you're a qualified candidate, then you would be admitted to the Oakland campus.
And remember, we have a 25% tuition scholarship, which is really significant.
Yes, and that's only available in Oakland. So
that's only for Oakland.
So I'll go ahead and put the admissions email, which is on the slide, but again in our chat. And my team is happy to answer any other questions that you have or connect you with some of the people on this call if you do have more specific questions after today's session.
Yes. All right, that brings us to the end of our webinar, so we can stop the recording at the moment.